Malcolm Glenn and Terry Stagg down for that one. Anybody got any problems with those minutes?
No.
Yeah, Terry?
I remember moaning on about lack of communication from the police. I see in the minutes that I requested that we have some information on crimes in Oundle. I know my memory is not as good as it ought to be, but I can't remember asking for that.
It was actually David Chapel who asked for it.
Ah, okay. That makes me feel somewhat better.
But
it also makes me feel somewhat worse because I'd forgotten that I'd asked for
it. Yeah, Jerry.
I was just going to say that it was useful as well, I thought, actually. I mean, that little, I assume that's available from the website, but getting it given to us rather than go find it ourselves, I found very useful. So thank you for that.
Yeah, a little Christmas tip in crime.
Right, so do we have a proposer for those? Yeah, Ian, and a seconder. Jerry just up there, behind Clive. Thank you. Right, all those in favour?
I wasn't there.
Right, thank you. Just bear with me one moment then.
Yes, he did a big desk.
God, you look stern, Ian.
Me?
Yeah.
I'm always stern.
He's in teacher mode.
Yeah.
Is that your teacher mode?
Well,
No, I'm reading
explains
the
it.
screen, and I'm looking out the window at the same time.
Very nice. I'm in my little Harry Potter under the cupboard stair, or under the stair cupboard.
Right, in terms of the Mayor's report, it'll have to be verbal again. Most of my time at the moment is being taken up on the St. Christopher's Drive planning application, which is going through next week. So we've got a fair degree of support for that from both the council and the people around the town. It'll be done by electronic systems. What I will be trying to do is putting a pack together for the committee members ahead of their pre-meeting that they have on Friday this week. But we had a bit of a chat about it, Peter and with Phil Stern, you know, and what the issues are. I mean, it is complicated. Complicated in as much as outline planning is only about roads and access, but you know, you have to have everything else worked out to get to that point. So that's the most of what I've been doing over this last period, plus working the printer every now and then.
I'm lazy, if you ask me.
Who is? I can't see you.
Can't see me. That's even better.
There's a shiny head that talks every now and then.
Yeah, look at that. You see, it's really getting good.
Yeah, it's a bit like Matt Lucas. Right, before I go too far, Emma.
At least I've had a haircut.
Yes, this is being recorded, this Zoom meeting.
Yeah, we've done the haircut one last week when the Poodle Parlour opened again, but they won't let me in.
Sorry about that, Tony.
Yeah. Right, District Council's report, then we had a brief report from Rupert.
Yeah.
Which most people have seen. Right, yeah. Thank you. So, Town Matters. The report receiving the opening of the shops and the businesses in Oundle. I mean, this is all good news stuff, and Emma, I know you've been deeply in the middle of it all.
Yes, I've circulated some of the sort of correspondence that I've had, but I've had more since then. But it's we potentially will be able to have access to a grant. However, I contacted Greg at East Northants Council today just to find out if the banners that the Oundle Business Association were looking to purchase, whether we could have those within the grant. And he basically says, yeah, it sounds like you could do, but what you need to do is go out and purchase things that you think you need. And then if you get the grant, it's a bonus almost. So I think we're almost 90% sure that we'd get it, but he said don't just rely on it, you know, if you need to buy things. but we should be able to tap into him to get floor stickers and more signage. Northamptonshire County Council are going to be buying them in bulk so that we can then pass them on. And also, I should still be speaking to Sarah Barnwell about if we've got any issues once all the shops are open with queuing. She pointed out a couple of areas which she thought might be troublesome: St Oside's Lane outside the post office and pharmacy, and also on the corner where Beans is. But since then, I do know that Phil from Beans has actually put some portable bike racks in his yard so people can put their bikes in there. So it's just sort of an ongoing situation.
Yep. Okay, Clive.
When is it all going to arrive, Emma? Because it's changing so quickly. But if there's a backlag, we're going to get these things saying 2 meters and all the rest of it, and
then it'll be 1 meter.
Disappeared out the window.
Yeah.
I'm hopeful that we should be getting them in by the end of this week. Whether they'll say 2 meters on it or whether they'll be just social distancing stickers that we'll have to measure out 2 meters, I'm not quite sure. But yeah, I know it is changing. I know that they are going to review in the next few weeks whether it's going to go from 2 to 1 meter. But I think for the shops at the moment, they're having to follow the 2 meter rule.
Yeah. I mean, my sort of observation of things at the moment is you only have to put a chalk line on the street and everybody stands on it. So
that's what I did on Saturday.
Yeah.
We had a few stickers, but then I chalked lines all the way through the marketplace.
Yeah.
2 meters, and people were, as well as they could, were using them.
I haven't seen them going across a zebra crossing yet, but I could imagine everybody leaping from the white ones. Yeah.
Hopscotch.
No, so it's a good idea. Emma, do you need clearance for us for some budget?
Well, I need to sort of find out from Bill what he was thinking about these banners, because we've also got to put some special EU logos on them for us to be able to get funding. But what I thought he said he was going to do is they might just buy them anyway, but if we could get some money. So I'll go back to him and just see sort of where he is with them and exactly, how many they want and what sort of money he's talking about. I mean, I would imagine that they're going to be similar to what we had for the NHS thank you.
Yeah.
E-worker thank you one. So I'm sort of working on that amount of money. And they weren't expensive, were they really?
No, they were very good.
It's only a question that, if you need to ask now, then we'll have a vote on it.
Yeah.
And if
at the moment, I'm going to push to try and get some of this grant money and get free stuff as I can.
Right. Yeah. But, what you said before is you had to spend the money and then get it back. Yeah. I didn't want you to be curtailed on the spending. Just
I don't think I will, because I can spend up to 500 and I'm not thinking that we're going to spend any more than that at the moment.
Okay.
But it's just if you've got if you sort of can think of anything whilst you're in the sort of town centre, what we might need. I know it's early days because the shop's only really opened yesterday, and I haven't been into Oundle to see what it was like. Be interesting to see what it's like on Thursday.
Yeah. Certainly, as you mentioned, the post office on St Ossy's Lane, it is a problem on the pavement there.
Yeah.
And we might at some point have to think about coning an area off so people can walk past them, because the pavement on the other side is quite difficult. Yeah, Ian.
They've made the point quite strongly, haven't they? Not just here but everywhere, that the 2 meter thing does have a time element to it as well. So if you walk past somebody, if someone's queuing outside the post office and you walk past them for 10 seconds, that's not particularly risky. But walking out in the road is pretty risky. So maybe we just need to look at signing some areas.
Yeah, Jerry?
One suggestion might be to put cones down the other side of the road, because, I mean, lots of people do use the other side of the road, even though there's not a formal pavement. But I mean, I tend to walk down that side of the road because there's a good bit of double yellow line and bit of gutter on the double yellow line, so you can walk down there, and the vast majority of drivers are being very sensible in terms of giving people space.
I mean, when I spoke to Sarah Barman about it, I mean, she potentially talked about if it was a problem, making areas one way, and that, you know, it seems as if obviously the safety of pedestrians having to step into the road is quite important to them, and they are prepared to do, you know, making the road one way so that you can have a complete, you know, an area, a double pavement width, that sort of thing. And the outside means she potentially talked about removing parking space to put bike racks there. So if we think that that's needed, then that's something that highways will help with.
I know when we were looking at bike racks previously, they had a problem with a bike rack there to do with buses and bikes and something. I can't remember.
Okay, so Peter.
Yeah, I think, you know, with the new regulations coming through, the one thing that I would like to see is that pedestrians are more important than cars. And if we have to put cones out there so that people can walk by, I think the cars are going to have to learn to be patient and allow people to walk rather than sort of driving and not bothering about pedestrians, which is what happens at the moment.
Yeah, I think you're hiding to nothing with that one, Peter.
Yeah.
Well, we've got to sort something out, because hopefully more and more people will walk rather than bring a car. I know that there are some people that won't do that, but we've got to try and do something to encourage people to continue walking and to walk around the town centre rather than bring their cars in.
Yeah, no, but
Clive?
I mean, one of the things that I noticed having done the market is the queue outside the post office. Some of the queue outside the post office is caused by the posters in the post office itself, where they're stuck all their things over the window, and nobody can actually see inside if there's anyone inside in the queue. And then if you go in there and there is someone in there, they shout at you to get out again. Now they need to know that if they move some of their posters down so the people outside can see if there's anyone inside or not, it makes it so much easier for everybody. You know, and Ian's exactly right. I mean, walking past someone, when someone mouthed something at me the other day, and I just said, well, just hold your breath. You walk past me and holding your breath. You're not going to catch anything from me if you're not breathing in my moisture. So, I mean, there needs to be some sort of balance here with some of this stuff. You know, that's all my view on it.
Okay, Mary, you know, if you can just keep an eye on it, and again, you know what to do if it gets too bad. But
I'll keep you updated, yeah.
All right, thank you. And it sort of nicely goes on to the next one about the traffic calming.
Yes, I forwarded an email. I don't know if anybody managed to see it, from Sarah Barnwell. Annabelle has also been involved in this. And so we had the emails I had an email from 2 people in West Street about speeding traffic in West Street. And they wanted some sort of traffic calming measures put in. And then we had the other incident on the marketplace in and around there. I've had another email since from Sarah, and she's been sort of looking at a few things, and she's happy to meet any councillors in Oundle to sort of look at the areas and see what we can do, whether we can do anything in West Street. She had originally talked about taking some parking out, but I think she went and had a look either today or yesterday, and she doesn't think that we'll be able to do that in the area that she was thinking of. But she did say that she didn't think speed bumps would be the right thing to have.
Jerry?
David was next. David was first, I think.
Okay, sorry. David?
If we take the experience of New Road, if you can remember, not that long ago, there was a lot of issues about New Road and the lorries. And I haven't heard anything since. There's been very little annoyance about New Road. We've got the bus coming down. But I'm just using it as an example to say, this is a temporary issue because, I'm presuming it is, because it's to do with the lack of traffic that people are going a bit faster than they normally would. So you either got to, these are things that you have to listen to past experience, which says, is this just happening because we've got COVID-19 and there's not many people? And when we go back to normal, will it go back to normal so therefore the issues they have will disappear or be reduced? Or is this something that we've got to take seriously? My
Okay.
view is if we take the new road experience, I think the traffic person, the highways person, was perfectly correct, and the advice she gave is perfectly acceptable. I'm happy to accept what she says.
All right. Jerry, then Malcolm, then Ian.
Yeah, I think if you read Sarah's response, if you have a very comprehensive response as to why speed bumps are not the right answer. I mean, I think she didn't. One of the things she didn't say, I think she alluded to in there. But I think you need to be careful what you wish for here, because you could make the problem worse, not better. Because it doesn't. People don't necessarily slow down over humps. Then you get more noise, more vibration. That damages listed buildings all down West Street. There's lots of examples of that happened around the country. The road breaks up because of the impact of heavy vehicles bouncing over bumps. It's not a great solution. It seems to be a poor idea.
If it really worked, it would be everywhere, and it doesn't.
Yeah. And the problem is the antisocial people will just accelerate and decelerate between the bumps, so you make the noise worse, not better. I mean, I got every sympathy for people who have to, listen to what can be very loud vehicle movements down that road, but there's nothing that either I don't think highways or we can do about it. If it's legal or not enforced, that people can have antisocial exhausts on their motorcycles and cars, and whether they're speeding or not, if they're accelerating up and down West Street, you're going to get antisocial noise. But I don't so that there's anything we can do about it. I don't think speed humps are going to in any way improve the situation.
Ian, I agree.
Have we got any quantifiable end? Have we quantified what the how much for this is a problem? How much is anecdotal?
Well, from what Sarah was saying,
when I've been down in Arundel, which isn't very often, I have to say, I don't feel there's an issue with speeding.
I think it's late at night.
Yeah.
So we have raised it with the police before, and they cannot find any tangible evidence that there are occasional motorists, but that's what the people are complaining about. So it's occasional motorists. Sorry, Ian, and then Val.
Yeah, I mean, two things. Just touching on what Malcolm said. Certainly, when we lived in the centre of town, it became a problem in the last couple of years. Late at night, early evening on a Sunday, and it's just 2 or 3 cars that just race around East Road and up West Street and back, and they're fantastically noisy. And certainly at the moment, the stuff going up and down the 605 and through the centre of town is phenomenally noisy, even from where we are. And the second point, coming back to what David said about it being a temporary problem, I think that's probably true. But I'm just wondering, the new CCTV cameras, when they come in, will they have any clever capability to do anything from sound or speed?
Yeah, I mean, they'll certainly be a lot clearer. There'll be and
number plates might be picked up.
Yeah, that's right. They do follow sort of activity, I think. I don't know how it works.
If they're installed at the end of the month, say, or in July, if we can give to residents, if they know roughly what time this problem is, if it's a 10-minute loop of 3 cars tearing around, we can clock the cars in that point and ping it off to the police and let them do whatever. But then at least doing something.
Okay, Val, and then I think Peter wants to have a go.
One of the things that of course is missing in all this is there is no enforcement of any kind.
No.
So whatever we did without enforcement is going to have any kind of effect.
Yeah. Okay. Peter, did you want to say something?
Well, I would echo that of Val. I think she's dead right there. There is no enforcement. But the problem I see, and I go out fairly early for a jog every morning, is that people are now it's not because of that. It's because I'm need to get some exercise. The problem I see, and it goes throughout any of the main arteries coming into Arundel, even across North Bridge, is people are totally now devoid of any restriction on themselves to go at 30 mile an hour. They're doing 50, 60, 70 mile an hour in any of the roads going out of Arundel. And we really do need some sort of police presence on a regular basis, because there is going to be some very bad accidents happen. I mean, on Cotterstock Road the other day, there was somebody just forgot that the junction where he turned right onto Cotterstock Road was actually a junction, and just came speeding out down Glapthorne Road.
Yeah, okay.
So we really do need to get some sort of way of stopping these people doing this, and it's happened because of the lockdown. I think people have just sort of got blasé because there's not so many cars on the road.
Jerry?
Emma, I think we had a conversation on Thursday about whether or not there was any chance of getting any number plates from the CCTV from the incident on Saturday night. Did we get a chance to do that?
Yeah, Lisa was looking at CCTV for the police yesterday, and I think that was for Saturday evening as well, but she couldn't find anything. So, but anyway, I will ask her, because I'm sure she was looking at the same time, and she said she'd look for both.
I think we had a quite a tight time slot as well, didn't we? I think the lady who wrote in gave us, it was
I'll find out
10:40 or something in the evening. Yeah.
Could I ask what that was briefly?
Racing around the marketplace.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Basically.
What fun!
We were talking about the new cameras, and I know Jerry said something about can we pick up the speed of those and actually report them to the police on that. Is that a possibility with the new cameras?
I don't think you can pick up the speed, but you can do the number plate recognition.
So you can't actually sort of, with the camera, actually sort of find out what speed they're going at the same time.
Emma?
Just what I wanted to do, though, was, because this is happening at night, it's antisocial behaviour. And I think the lady in one of the emails had said that she didn't bother to ring the police. I know they probably wouldn't come out and the people would be gone. But I think if we encourage people to report it, and I know, you can report it online, if they're getting a pattern and they're getting more and more, then they might just have somebody that they'll, have a look, come down into the town on the Saturday evening, rather than
Is it regular?
waiting and telling us 2 days later when we can't do anything about it.
I can concur with that exactly, because a while ago we had problems in the school, and everyone said, there's no point telling the police, and the police said, well, no one's ever told us. And of course, as soon as we told them every incident, the little graph went huge, and we had police everywhere.
Yeah, so Emma, just in terms of what we're doing then, certainly you need to respond, and I think it's to say that, to encourage people to report. But I don't think we should have a knee-jerk reaction. I think we're all well aware that we want to do something on Anvil Town Centre, but the current is not the right time to be doing it.
Yeah. Okay.
So in a few weeks' time, Northbridge will be open again, and the trucks will be taking their normal route out of the town. You have to give them the praise for the way they've managed themselves. They've taken difficult journeys from the town centre, but to my knowledge, we haven't had any complaints of them.
Sorry about that. My daughter just coming into the house.
All right then. Okay, so to receive an update on the cycleway proposals.
Me or you, Emma?
Well, have you got any more of an update than me?
I haven't got much more. I mean, we were kind of hoping by now to have had something from Highways,
That's what I was hoping.
A formal plan and costing. So we did have a letter from Neil Holland. That's the right name. Yeah, not very long ago, saying that they would soon produce that for us, and that they were still optimistic they could do it within the school summer holidays, which would be great, because they've actually in the previous timelines we discussed with them, they were talking about much longer periods of mobilisation between getting the costings done and getting someone organised to actually do the work, which does make me kind of wonder how over optimistic that belief is, but again, once again though, we're down to Highways really, basically, and we can't do anything until they come back with a plan and a pricing and a time scale. And I know that Transition Angle and not myself and Emma have been trying to encourage them to come up with that, but despite it was and no criticism particularly levelled here at Highways, because obviously they've been having to cope with the problems we were having like everyone else. But this should have been end of March, beginning of April, and we were hoping we would have it by the end of May, and we still haven't got it.
Yeah. So we seem to be at the right time for rapid action on anything to do with cycling. You know, so many of the towns around the country have done things. So just keep the pressure on them. Yeah.
And it looks like as well as the Section 106 funding that we've got available, it looks like there's a very
grant
strong
funding, yeah.
Okay, very good news. Terry.
likelihood of other grant funding being available.
There were some background papers to this in terms of consisting of email from David Wood.
Yeah.
And he's asking us how we propose to manage this. Are we going to discuss that?
Well, I mean, in previous meetings, I've been delegated, or I've agreed, whatever the right expression is, to work with David Wood and Transition Handle. So David Wood's represents Transition Handle on this. I represent OTC on this. David and I talk regularly. He spoke to me today in anticipation of this discussion this evening. So, you know, he's well aware of the correspondence that are going on and the Annabelle de Capel Brooks emails, which also relate to cycling. So it's going on, but as I've just explained, Terry, you know, we can do what we can do, which is keep negotiations going with Northants Highways, and you know, and keep the pressure on for them to come up with a plan. But at the end of the day, we're in their hands in terms of the timescales.
No, I was meaning more of the overall management of the project, because from his emails, he seems to be unclear as to what's happening. For example, does Councillor Hutton already have a mandate from the council? Does the council need to have information update from?
Well, I think that email specifically.
This meeting.
That email, Terry, was specifically relating to communication, and Tony and I had a conversation about that, and we agreed that, you know, this isn't just an OTC initiative. Transition Handle have had a very large part in the planning and the design of what's being proposed, and we said we were quite happy for them to carry on with their plans in terms of publicising it, you know, through their media outlets, and yeah, I mean, you know, it's a collaboration, it's a cooperation between us and Transition Handle, and indeed the recent communication is anyone else who wants to be involved and try and support the initiative. So I don't think there's a problem here.
Or OTC.
Sorry, I didn't catch that.
Who's leading it, Transition Handle or OTC?
I would say, I mean, OTC has got access to the funding, so yeah, I don't know that there's anything to be led more than is currently being led at the moment. If we get to the point where we've got a project going ahead, I mean, I can't give you a straight answer to that, because, you know, the project planning and the detailed implementation is going to be highways. You know, we need to be involved to make sure the funding arrives in the right place. Transition Handle are supportive partners in it. I'm struggling really, Terry, as to know what else we could be doing.
I'll just carry on for a minute. Emma and then Ian.
Yeah, well, I was just going to sort of back up what Jerry was saying. This is for a particular stretch of road within Oundle that we've agreed that we're going to put a cycleway on. And we started this 20 months ago, and we were at the point in March where we've approved that we were going to spend that Section 106 money on this particular piece of road and put a cycleway in. And the next stage was getting the feasibility study. And at that time, it's all sort of managed and approved through Oundle Town Council, but with a lot of help from Transition Handle, because they'd come up with about 3 different projects, and we picked one, if I remember, out of the 3 different routes that they'd put. So that's one side, but the other side is this initiative from the government, which is not what we're doing on. We were doing our bit anyway before this came along. I think OTC managing the funding will be paying, you know, for what we need to pay, and decisions will be made in Oundle Town Council meetings. But we're getting a lot of help and collaboration with Transition Oundle as well.
Yeah. Okay. So I think, you know, Terry, in terms of your wording on leadership, yeah, so the structure, the construction and so on, highways will have to lead it. But in terms of keeping the pressure on them, it's through ourselves. You know, we are the link to highways, and then we've got input from Transition Oundle.
Okay.
All right.
Can I just throw one more
Yeah,
point?
go on, Ian. Yep.
The email that you sent around is basically asking about that particular flyer, isn't it? And it's essentially saying to the people of Oundle, look, here's some plans for cycleways, feedback your thoughts, which is great. And there's no specific project management on that such. So
the other thing that they were specifically asking was that they wanted to go and spend a bit of money, of their own money, on a bit of graphic design to try and, you know, create a bit of branding. And they said, you know, we don't want to do that, and then find out that Oundle Town Council said around, "Oh no, we don't like that. We don't like the other." And that was the bit I alluded to, where we said, "Well, no, I think, you know, we're not going to have any objections to that. They've consulted us. No one's saying anything's wrong with what they're doing, so yeah, they can go ahead and do that."
Okay. Right, Jerry, thank you for everything you're doing on that one. It is tricky, but it's amazing how well it seems to be going at the moment.
See.
Right, moving on then. So we council matters, and start off with the clerk's report. So you seem to be managing very well without Fletton House now, Emma.
Sell it.
I thought I was thinking the other day, I thought, right, we've got this massive building, and I don't know when it's going to have people back in it again, but hopefully it will do at some point.
Give it to me, I'll open another carpet shop.
Okay. So anyway, there's lots of content there. Is anything anybody wants to top on? We have to move on. Well, thank you, Emma.
Okay.
So update from the farmers markets, and they discuss any feedback from the customers or staff. Right, so Emma, go on, you start.
Yeah, I think it went really well. We had lots of positive comments after the initial sort of getting the stall holders. A couple of them had gone into slightly different places, but we managed to get everybody happy. Yeah, a lot of positive comments from people. The only problems that we did have, they're not really problems, but the two stalls that were extremely popular, the egg stall and the fish stall, we needed to have a queuing system separately for that. And so we've come away with a few ideas to have a barrier where people can queue, and then they're called across for both those stalls when it gets to the busy times. But other than that, I think it was okay.
Yeah, Jerry?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the good thing was that it wasn't overly busy. I mean, it was busy enough, and the stallholders were very happy. There was a steady flow of customers, but we never got to, at least not whilst I was doing my shift, we never got to the point where it felt like it was, you know, getting overcrowded and the distancing was a problem. The only thing I was going to say, which Emma knows about, is that Coffee Tavern weren't very happy with the fact there was a coffee vendor right outside the front of the shop. First thing on that end of the market. The coffee vendor was doing great business, but I'm not sure that Coffee Tavern got very many people at the door. You know, which is unfortunate, but there's a limited number of things you can do about that, really.
Yeah.
I mean, if you move it down the market, someone else is going to get upset. And at the end of the day, it's fair competition.
Okay. Clive and then Val.
Just another comment on that coffee thing. I mean, I think I keep harping on about this. This is the business owner's responsibility. When the Coffee Tavern opened, they put one poster up on their thing to say they were open. There was nothing on social media about them opening up that weekend. There was nothing. They didn't do anything for themselves, and yet they come out and bleat that it wasn't right for them. I mean, I think we have to push some of it back towards them.
Yeah, to be fair, I wouldn't have described it as bleat.
Hang on, I was next.
Sorry, Val.
They have spoken to me about it because they live in the road. So one of the father phoned me. They don't mind about that, but they think that it would be better if it could be kind of rotated, not always outside there.
Okay.
So
Jerry and then Emma.
I just wanted to say they didn't bleat. They weren't in any way unpleasant. They were very, very polite, and they said,
Hey, Max.
They just pointed it out. I had already independently recognised that it was going to be not a great from their point of view. He was extremely pleasant.
Okay, then Emma and then Peter.
Just one quick one on that. It's very difficult to rotate the stalls because once we set up a new plan, talked it through, we worked out where we moved a couple of people, and I said to them at the end of that day, you will be in this position when you come back next month, because that's what they wanted to know. They wanted to know where they were going to be next month so that they could visualise it, because it was very difficult on the morning. Somebody sets up slightly in the wrong place, it throws everything out. So it will be the same for the next month. I know we've got a couple more stalls coming along, but Lisa did go to the Coffee Tavern, and we had coffee from there, and they were fine with her.
Okay, but it's just that you say, if next month is the same, but we have a look at the month after and tell them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but you see, the trouble is we have a knock-on effect with everybody. Then we'll have a shopkeeper come out and say, I'm not happy with this outside my shop.
Yeah. All right, but it's just say we need to look after our shops as well. So
and the market, though, we do need to look after the market.
Yeah. Okay, Peter.
I would just like to make one point. Where is there a coffee plantation in the UK?
It's how you grind them, apparently. Ian.
What, from a farmer's point of view?
Well, it's how you grind and roast them, isn't it? It's a producer. But also, maybe there's some symbiosis that could happen. Maybe a stall and a shop that sells similar items might come together.
Yeah.
You put something from here, you get a bacon butty from there as part of a meal deal. Everyone's a winner.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so I think also that from what I heard, Emma, that the weather played in our direction on the crowd control.
Well, Thursdays did, yeah. Those that were doing the middle shift suffered. We had rain on and off at 7, and it was freezing cold and windy, I will say. It took me all day to warm up that day. But
needed coffee.
But Thursday seems to be fine, I think, at the moment.
Okay.
Well, just the point on Thursdays, we've run 4 of them. The first week there was nothing, everyone was happy and did everything properly. Second week there was 1 person complained. Third week there were 3 people complained, and last week was the mother of all, breakout fisticuffs. So there's actually, it's people are either weather dependent on their behaviour, or are getting extremely fed up, or things are changing in their attitude towards it. So it's an interesting social exercise, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Marshalling the market.
Yeah, what you say is quite worrying, Clive. Because we don't want to be putting staff or volunteers in that situation.
Well, I mean, it's manageable. It's just a little bit. It doesn't worry anybody, I don't think, particularly. But it's just when people see things happening, it sort of just sends a little shockwave through everything.
Yeah.
You suddenly realise that there are many sorts of human beings around, and all of them take these strange times in very different ways.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, look, we've got enough to say that we carry on, Emma. There's nothing there that says you should stop at the moment, is there? Sorry, Emma, there's nothing that says you should stop. You're happy to carry on?
No, it's fine. Yeah. At the moment, we're going to still have to continue doing what we're doing. So, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, please shout if it becomes too much.
I will do.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Where are we now? Farmers Market. Oundle Music Trust to use the marketplace for the food festival in July.
Yeah. This is from. This came from Rowan. I think I sent you her email. They're mothballed at the moment, but they are sort of thinking about next year. And instead of
I've missed the year there. Sorry.
Instead of
okay.
having the food festival in June, like they do normally, they're thinking of combining it with the sort of weekend of the Oundle Festival with the Fringe. And so she just said, would we mind if they had it then? Obviously they'll want the marketplace and closing the road off. But at the moment they're not doing anything.
Right, going around the tables. Anybody got any problems? Go, Jerry.
Not a problem. Just I don't know if other people have had the same email, but they've emailed to their friends and supporters saying that they're looking at a sort of a high impact long weekend rather than a week next year. So they'll be doing 4 or 5 days, I guess, 3 or 4 days, maybe, I don't know, over a weekend, bit of culture, food festival, and then, obviously that's presumably easier for them with limited finances, and also gives us a bit of a yippee, we're back.
Yeah.
Okay, Ian.
It sounds like a brilliant idea, and there'll be less clash between the school and the food festival, which will mean there's more space and resources and car parking all around the place for everyone. So it sounds great.
So is that a date, Ian, after the school's finished, is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Right, Clive?
We have to be, my feeling is we have to be behind this completely, because it's the kickstart we were talking about last meeting, about getting the festival off to a new start. It reinvigorates the QVH ideas. It gets everything going again, which is exactly what we should be doing. Yeah, I 100% support on that.
Okay. And Val?
We have to make sure it doesn't clash with the farmers market if it's a weekend. Get the right weekend.
Yeah, I think I looked at that. I think it's the third weekend, third Saturday, whereas we'll be the second.
The second.
Okay. Yeah, so, just want to support what Clive said there, that we, that they are, to me, the main touristic of this town. So we support anything they want to do, but, it's Oundle Town Council in support of the groups in the town. Okay, so Emma, I think you've got the nod you needed there.
Okay, I'll let them know it's fine. Yeah.
Only you miss Terry.
Oh, sorry, Terry. It's the impression of ET that I'm getting.
Okay, I'll try something else. Lost my thread now. Clive said the kickstart that we needed to get the town moving again. Just remind us, Emma, when you need to make a decision, we need to make a decision about the Christmas market.
Well, I think in September we'll have to decide whether we will be having the full-scale Christmas market, whether it be something smaller. It all depends on really what's going on in the country with regards to virus.
So September, okay.
But I think September, because after that you're starting to pay for things and book in and that sort of thing.
Okay, that's a good point, Terry. Thank you. Right.
Peter's down the bottom, Tony.
Is it easy? Oh, Peter.
Yeah, the Christmas tree will still be put up, by the way.
Okay.
So
I don't know if you want to decorate it.
Yeah, so will all the Christmas decorations go up. But what we won't potentially have is a market, and even if we do have some form of market, we might not have a big cramming everybody into the marketplace with a switch on. It will be some form of something if we can do it.
Right.
Well, there might be a 1 metre wall by then.
Yeah, but you still wouldn't be able to do. You still wouldn't.
No, I know. I mean, we could sort of still have a market at a reasonable size, or maybe even take it further up New Road or further down West Street or whatever.
It's just managing the people that would be an issue.
Oh yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah. And I'll look down at the minutes now.
So, social distance Santa.
Yeah, well, I'm just thinking about Michelin men outfits. If everybody wore one of those, they keep me away from people. It would look quite funny. It would look like bloody the Eurovision Games thing. Right, receive a letter from the resident concerning request to put 2 names on the war memorial. It was a long letter.
Yes, I have spoken to him a couple of times because he comes to the market on Thursday, and I did encourage him to contact the British Legion and the War Memorial Trust, because I said I think you might have discussed it at an estates meeting before all of the lockdown. 2 names. I think Roy had said about it. 2 names needed to go onto the War Memorial, but apparently these people are not from Oundle, and they're already being commemorated on a War Memorial somewhere else. So I did say to him that the British Legion would know that. So he has written, and he's written to Tom Pursglove as well, I think. But he just wanted the town council to be aware, and he didn't want the names to go on without there being a thorough investigation.
Okay. So who's? Yeah, sorry, Malcolm. Say again.
Is that what that long letter said? I lost the will to live going.
Yeah. So Emma, what is the action then? What's actually going to happen? Is it British Legion who make the decision?
Well, the British Legion, I think it was through Roy. I don't know if you remember discussing it at an estates meeting or
somewhere.
Yeah, and I think Lisa was liaising with the British Legion as well, and also had written to the War Memorial Trust. And that was, it all happened just before the lockdown, and I don't think she's had anything back on that. But it's not just a case of I mean, it's our war memorial, and if it all gets approved and they do go on, then it will be down to us to get them put on. But we're not at that stage yet because it's being looked at.
Yeah. So at the moment we've just received a letter for information. Ian.
Do we have any records about what I've lost the ability to speak briefly about what terms there were when the memorial was first put up about the names that are on already? Because presumably if we match those with these cases or don't match those, that will be a deciding factor. Is there any paperwork about that?
It's not necessarily paperwork. I think it's that memorial is for the people of Oundle.
Yeah, certainly it was the way I understood it. You know, the memorial has residents of Oundle. Val, yeah.
But there's certain
you're right. But if you look in the church at the list, it's not quite the same as the War Memorial.
Right.
And I know Roy and the British Legion and co have been trying to sort that discrepancy out.
Yeah, because there's lots of discrepancies about where Oundle is. I know there's someone somewhere from Warmington, or so it might be worth going back to the original committee or paperwork and seeing exactly what the terms were and make sure that we meet that. But again, that's something we can worry about when we can get back into planning, presumably.
Yeah. Okay. So at the moment we've received the letter and we understand the discussion, and it might come back to us for some action.
Yeah.
Thank you. Right, discuss the effect of the sale of the property of East Road. Okay, so this is the Dovedale. So Val, you've got an involvement in this one, have you?
I signed the lease, I think, at one stage. I didn't know it was on the market though. It's the district council wanting to sell it. Owned by the district council.
Sorry, it's not that Mind don't own the place then?
No, they lease it.
Right, okay.
Owned by the district council.
Right. So I was interested to see that it was freehold, you know, that the piece of land is with it. Yeah, I don't know. We'd asked the question previously, you know, just to double check Jones Strong was still freehold.
Yeah, because the Jones Strong land doesn't belong to the district council.
No,
It belongs
but
to
it's
us.
yeah. We
Worth
do
an
follow,
investigation.
yes, please. Yeah, following the incident at the rugby club.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd just
Well,
like
I
to know that
realise that, yeah, but I signed the lease, the mine lease, and I also did the lease for the Jones Strong Centre.
Yeah, but it's I'm sure that we've looked, Lisa and I have looked when we had the issue with the rugby club, because we've got leases for all of them, but it's whether the land's been registered or not.
Yeah, sure. I realise
That's where the issues are.
Okay,
But I think we've looked at Jones Strong Centre and we do own that.
Good. Okay, Peter.
Well, if that property is for sale and we can get it, I think we should buy it.
Well, I think it's you know, it's bigger than this meeting as a discussion item. But the reason I asked to have it put here was that piece of land coupled with the Jones Strong is a significant plot.
Exactly.
That piece of land sold on its own then leaves our Jones Strong Centre, you know, if you like, locked between other properties. But you know, I wanted to know whether anybody thinks we should be discussing it or should we just drop it.
I think we should discuss it.
David?
Well, I agree with Peter. I think it may well prove to be beyond us, but the potential that we might be able to unlock by acquiring it makes it worth a thorough investigation, because that whole site could potentially be redeveloped in other ways to benefit us. And I can think of a number of things that we might be able to do if we owned the whole amount of the land that we certainly can't do with just the Jones Strong area.
Yeah. Okay. Anybody else with an input? Jerry?
I was just going to say that, I mean, not for this meeting, as you say, but I mean, we need to make sure that we have a very clear plan for what we would want to do on it, and also how we would fund what we wanted to do on it if we were to consider doing it. I mean, if we were to try and communicate to the town that we were buying that, I think we'd need to have a very, very good reason and a very sound plan as to what we wanted to do.
Yeah. For those councillors that were here in the past when we've acquired pieces of land, are you scarred by the experience, or you sort of encouraged to try again? While they're thinking, Emma, do you want to?
Yeah, I'll just. Where did you see this? Because I've tried searching it and I can't find any details on.
I'll send them across to you.
Yeah,
What it is there's a sign outside it saying it's for sale with I think it's Shipways.
Right. Okay.
But I'll send you across.
Thank you.
Yeah, David.
Well, I was just going to say, I mean, I would not have said what I just said if previous experience had led me to believe that this council acquiring property was generally bad news. I repeat, really, that it opens up opportunities that are currently not available to us. And I think that it needs to be thoroughly explored. And if we have to convene some sort of a special meeting in order to have a discussion, maybe a behind closed doors discussion, I'm all for that.
Okay, Ian?
I'm just, with regards to that, is there a time scale? Is this quite time sensitive potentially?
I'm sure it is. You know, they've put it up for offers in the region of, you know, which suggests that they, you know, the back. I hadn't realised who was owning it. You know, so if it's Northampton that own it, it is Northampton and not East Northampton, isn't it?
No, it's East Northants.
Oh, it is East Northants.
East Northants that owns it.
Right. Okay.
I wouldn't mind betting that Soilmec will try and get it.
Oh, absolutely.
Because they've got the land the other side.
Exactly.
They are car park.
Yeah. Okay.
Do we know what sort of money they'll look? Sorry, Tony.
200,000. It offers in the region of 200,000.
I think we have to snap their hands off.
Well, I think there might be some interest in the place. Have we got somebody who could lead it?
Yeah, I'm happy to look at that.
Terry, thank you. So Terry, if you will gather Clive's that sort of volunteered to join you. If you bring a few others in, to have a look at it, I'll send across the bits of detail I've got on it.
Okay.
And I have some thoughts. I haven't got much time at the moment. That's my problem.
Okay. No worries.
I think we
Okay.
need to act really quickly if that's the case, because they'll be snapping up and turning it into a housing estate as fast as possible.
Well, I think if unless anybody objects, it would be interesting for Emma to send out that we've got an interest. I don't know how you'd write it, Emma. It's purely an interest.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. By doing that,
otherwise we're going to get into some details here. That anyway.
Yeah. If you can just send the details, Tony, then.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah.
But what I was trying to say is, by doing that, at least we'll get them to inform us, if they've got a closing date. All right then. Well, thank you for that one, and thanks very much, Terry and Clive, for leaping in there.
Terry could take the lead on that.
Sorry, what was that?
Terry could take the lead on that one. I think it's more up your street, I think, than mine.
You can take over at 11:30.
Right. Okay. Right. We're talking here about the reopening of the hub.
Yes. It's I just thought perhaps we ought to think about it.
No, we should. Yeah.
Or have a discussion. And like I said to you earlier, if we want to have a discussion, it might be better that we do it in camera.
Yeah. I think you're dead right there, Emma. We can't really discuss this as we are now.
Mm-hmm.
So do we want to go into a session in camera now, or do we just want to hold it to the end of the meeting and then, because we've got Lee there, save Lee coming and going?
It can move it to the end, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it saves her having to wait in the waiting room.
Lee's embroidery. Especially the way.
Okay.
I'll send you some material. You can make masks.
Right. And then the other one that I'd asked Emma to talk about was when we can get back to a proper live full council meeting, essentially to be our year end or year beginning meeting. And I wanted a discussion about it, purely to get the view of the rest of you, on whether you thought it was viable. The sort of thing I put forward to Emma was that we could actually use the QVH and have tables 3 meters apart, and actually have a meeting in there within the rules of social distancing. But please open it up now. So Jerry, you want to start?
I guess you said the words yourself. The rules. I mean, my understanding of the rules at the moment is we couldn't, but we may well be able to by the 21st of July. So at the moment it's only 6 people, isn't it? So we would only be able to have 6 tables in the QVH. In fact, we couldn't even have 6 tables in the QVH. We could have 6 tables on Fletton Field. So we can't at the moment, is my understanding. But it may well be different by the 21st of July.
Have to pick a nice day though. If it's Fletton Field, wouldn't we?
Right, we do Emma then Ian.
Yeah, my view is, and having spoken to other councils, most people are not thinking about doing this until September. We've got the approval to have these meetings and carry on as we are. And I just think whilst, we're still in this situation, we haven't got a meeting in August unless we feel the need to have one. I think it's perhaps something that we should think about looking at in September.
Okay, Ian?
This seems to work perfectly well. It's presumably in many ways just as public as a meeting that many people don't attend because they can look at it at their leisure afterwards. So to change seems unnecessary and probably unwise.
Okay.
David had his finger up as well, Tony.
Yeah,
David,
I suppose it rather depends on whether or not you equate what a council does with a business, because of course businesses can open, offices can potentially be open and so on. And in part we are running a business, we operate the market, we're talking about whether we reopen the hub. So I'm far from convinced that the rule about 6 people outside or in would apply in any event. I think it's probably simply a matter for our own decision making. But personally, I agree. I think the present system is working. We could review it in July, consider whether we need some sort of a Zoom meeting in August, and potentially aim at restarting it in September, subject to guidance.
Okay, we've got Emma and Malcolm.
Yeah, I was just going to say the only issue we have is members of the public, and I mean I know at the moment we've only got one other member of the public, but once you're opening up a public building, and then you're getting members in, we've got all other things that we've got to think about then. And I think at this moment in time, it's, you know, I think there is, as we can have these meetings like this, why would we want to put anybody, councillors, members of the public, staff, at risk?
Yeah. Okay, I think we're getting around there. Malcolm?
Well, being 73 with pre-existing health conditions, and I think that Val might be in the same boat as me, I'll be very reluctant to go to any meeting at that stage until the infection rates and things are right down.
Okay, so look, nothing for July. We don't have, as you say, we don't have a scheduled meeting for August, but we'll review it next month and see whether it's looking good for September. Okay, but you know, I do take particularly the point Malcolm there making there about health. You know, we can't jeopardise anybody's health. All right, thank you. Right, financial matters then. Bank records, that word there, the long one.
Reconciliation.
Emma's been to the bank.
But that's if you can get in.
Yeah. So has anybody got any questions or input on that one? Terry?
Sorry, did you say me?
No, that was that you waving or scratching?
No, I was just adjusting my position. Physically, not on the agenda item. I'm happy with the agenda item.
Right. Anybody else got an input on that?
Well, I've read them. I'm quite happy to propose it.
Okay then. Right. So we got a proposal there from Malcolm, the seconder. Oh, sorry, the seconder from Val. Right. All those in favour? Thank you. And then the payments for May. Anybody got any thing they noticed in there? No. Okay then. We've got a proposer for May. Yeah, it's from Terry. I'll second that. And all those in favour? Okay, thank you. Complete and approve the annual government statement and the annual return. Is that?
That's the
That document, is it?
right. Right. This is the page you need to be looking at. Or section.
There's a little tick box
Have you got
down
up
there.
there? Right, hang on. Let me I'll show you what you need to be looking at.
This is really entertaining, isn't it, folks?
That's been done.
Emma's sent me this, and then she sent
Is
me a
this
copy
one?
in English.
Right, it says section 1 at the top.
Hang
Can you
on.
hold over a bit? Section
Looks like this.
Yeah, okay, I've got section 1.
Yeah. Right, now on this one, we do normally go through the questions. Has everybody managed to look at the questions? There are questions that we answer yes to all of them.
Oh, just tick yes then.
But I just want to make sure that you've all looked at the questions. It's all about how we,
Financial governance.
finances.
Yeah.
The same as last year, Emma, is it?
Yeah, same form. Yeah.
It's all right, because I haven't read it, so I'll be honest, I haven't read
So
it.
questions 1 to 8 are relating to our finances and how we, our internal controls and all of the procedures we put in place. Question 9 is the answer about whether we've got a trust or not, which obviously we have.
Yeah.
So anyway.
So we're happy with all those as a yes.
You got David and Jerry, Tony.
Yeah, go on, Jerry.
I think, I mean, I know it's a bit boring, but I think, Emma, you should read them through and we should just go nodding through. There's only 8 of them. I think so, because that's what we normally do. And I think, you know, we've got to be still showing due diligence here.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm looking at a page that's got very blurry, so I'm just trying to, I've printed myself a better one. Let me just see if I can find it. If not, I'll just read the blurry one.
I'm happy to read them if you want me to. I've got it in front of me.
Okay. I'll do some.
David had a comment as well, Tony.
Right, are we ready? Question
exactly
one.
the same comment as Jerry's, because we've always taken the items.
We always read it.
And I think
Okay,
we ought to do the same thing.
Right.
Yeah.
We have put in place arrangements for effective financial management during the year and for the preparation of the accounting statements. Yes. So,
Yes.
would you like to put yes in that column? Write the word yes.
I've put a tick in it now.
All right. Okay. Right. Well, we'll go with ticks then. We'll leave ticks in now. We maintained an adequate system of internal control, including measures designed to prevent and detect fraud and corruption, and reviewed its effectiveness.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's like the internal. We took all reasonable steps to assure ourselves that there are no matters of actual or potential non-compliance with laws, regulations and proper practices that could have a significant financial effect on the ability of this authority to conduct its business or manage its finances.
Yes.
We provided proper opportunity during the year for the exercise of electors' rights in accordance with the requirements of the accounts and audit regulations. Yes, the notice.
Yes.
That's the notice.
We carried out an assessment of the risks facing this authority and took appropriate steps to manage those risks, including the introduction of internal controls and/or external insurance cover where required.
Yeah.
Maintain throughout the year an adequate and effective system of internal control of the accounting records and control systems. We took appropriate action on all matters raised in reports from internal and external audit.
Yeah.
We considered whether any litigation, liabilities or commitments, events or transactions occurring either during or after the year end have a financial impact on this authority, and where appropriate have included those in the accounting statements.
Is any authority in the entire country going to answer that yes, in the sense that you've got the problem of COVID-19 and the implications, which none of us can yet work out or understand? And it certainly impacted us. We closed the hub, for example. Can we answer it yes?
Yeah. Don't know whether anybody will.
We don't have to. We only have to answer it yes, or we can answer it yes if we have included them in the accounting statement. So if we felt we should make a provision for the impact of COVID in the accounting, then we had done so, then we could answer yes. If we had considered it and hadn't decided not to make a provision in the accounts, then we can still answer yes. So I think you can answer yes, but you've got to have considered it.
Yeah, all you've got to do is have considered it.
Yeah. That's what we're doing now.
Yeah.
I was going to ask, I know of at least one claim that's pending against us. Do we make any provision for any impact of that, or is that covered by insurance anyway?
Those are slightly different because that's covered under our insurance. I think this is more related to suing and that sort of thing.
Yeah, other things. Okay. So we're. I think what we're asking is,
we're happy
that we've done everything we need to do in terms of considering those risks.
Yeah. And then the last one is basically asking if we have any trust funds, and which we do, because we do have a trust.
Yeah, QVH. Well, sorry, just on does Oundle Town Council have the trust?
Yeah.
No, but we although we are part of a trust because the town council is the sole trustee. Entity, but the town council is the sole trustee of the Queen Victoria Hall Trust.
Okay.
All
So those set of ticks then, I'm happy to sign this page.
Yeah, so if you sign where it says chairman,
Yeah, hang on. It was signed, approved at the meeting of the authority on, that's today's date, 16th.
yeah. I'll put the minute reference in when I've typed the minutes up.
Yeah.
They'll-
Signed. Right, so I've signed that one. If you just want to lean across, Emma, and sign your
Yeah.
box.
Will you be able to, when we've done all of this, will you just pop them through the letterbox at Fletton House, and then I'll sign.
Yeah. Okay. So just going back to that first page without the ticks in it, was there anything we needed to do on that one? The completion checklist.
No, that's my checklist. That when you've done this,
Okay, that's yours, right?
get everything together that needs to go off to the external auditor, and
Okay then.
do that list and check that we've put everything in it.
Right. And on the other ones then,
Right.
I'm
So
the
that now,
responsible
if you,
financial officer. Okay.
yeah, if you just go back to the actual item on the agenda,
Yeah.
it's just now we've signed it and ticked it. If you just get a resolution, if you just ask somebody to approve and second it and
Okay then.
get through.
Can I get somebody to, okay, with David's proposed it and a seconder from Ian, and all those in favour? Right, you're all guilty. Thank you.
And then it's on to the next one.
Yeah, I'll just put that in the filing system.
Now the next one is the one that's filled in with all of the figures for this year and last year.
Oh yeah, yeah, okay.
And that this is just a case of, if everybody's happy with it, we approve it, and then you sign it.
Okay, I'll have to print it off again now. Right, David, is that you approving it?
Well, it was just me raising something. I can't remember, but was this the form that we had an issue with the auditor on last year? Because
it was
put in the same
restated.
way as we'd always done, and then got told it wasn't right.
Yeah, it was
And if so,
restated.
have we altered it
Yes.
to do it
Yeah.
the way they wanted it to do it last year?
Yeah. Mhm.
Right. In that case, I'll propose it.
Yeah, it
Okay,
was
then.
the other payments, and I think some things were included in the loan interest and capital repayments that should have been in all other payments.
And I've lost you all there temporarily. Right, there you go. No, you've gone. Stop playing around with the computer. Right, so if we got a proposal, was that you, David?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, then a seconder. I'll second it then. Right, too late. Right, all those in favour? Right, thank you.
And then if you could just, you can date it and then just put the signature for the chairman.
Yeah.
And then I'll do it.
Yeah, those are the papers. It's not there. Right. Okay, then. So to receive the internal audit report for the year from March 2020.
Obviously, if it was different this year because we had to send everything via email, and she had to get most stuff from our website and that sort of thing. But yeah, obviously she was quite happy.
Okay then.
Very happy.
Yes, it's lovely words to Emma there again.
That's right. Yeah, full of praise.
Right, okay then. So to receive the insurance valuation report for Arundel Town Council properties.
Yeah, the last one was in 2017. I think I sent you a copy of last one so that you could sort of compare. So it's just a case of changing our figures for our insurance.
Yeah. Okay. And then David, over to you for a bit.
Can I just raise one question?
Yes, sorry, Ian.
Do we need to get or actively have Snipe Meadow Boardwalk revalued?
I talked to them about that because obviously it's not there at the moment, and so as soon as it's there,
and the new one's going to cost more than what it's had.
Then they'll come out and value it. Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. So David, over to you for a bit.
Well, probably can be quite short because all you've got actually is a list of planning outcomes, which are all written up. The exception of the first one, where it says awaiting the Deputy Mayor's response. But I seem to recall I did respond to it and say that it was a very straightforward application to which we would have no objection. And the only real observation I've got is that almost unprecedented, I think, in an entire month, there has been not a single planning application brought forward for us to consider. And so surprised was I by it, that despite the fact I'd trawled the East Northants web sort of page and hadn't found one, I still had to email the clerk and say, are there any planning applications? Because I couldn't believe that there were none at all, but perhaps that shows the effect of COVID. So that's why there's nothing on the agenda, and that's why you haven't got anything from me.
Okay. Right. Estates management matters to receive the estates report. Yeah, Jerry.
The only thing I saw was that the materials for Snipe Meadow Boardwalk have been delivered, and I'm told they're secure and safe in the rugby club. I'm just hoping they are, because it's really, really sad if they disappeared before they turned up to the fitness.
Well, now you've mentioned it.
Well, they are secure, and they're not just sort of where somebody can just take one off. They're all in like big, well, from what I gather, big pallets. They had to be lifted in with a special lifting machine. So whoever wants to steal them is going to have to
needs a pallet truck and a van. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and a lorry really. I think.
This might fall back into Ian's last comment about the insurance of the board of Snipe Meadows. Is all that material insured? Because you know, I know, not that I actually know, but I'm surmising there are lots of people around here with flatbed lorries and.
Yeah, let's just not talk about it that much anymore now.
They managed to take a cash machine out of the co-op wall, you know.
Yeah. No, it is, as far as I'm aware, it's secure. And I would imagine that it would be our contractor's responsibility at the moment.
Just Emma, just for a bit of common sense, could you just check up on that we've got it insured somewhere?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, one of my old bosses took over responsibility for Perkins Sports Club and then didn't realise they didn't have it insured when it burnt down. Yeah, so it's you know, you make the assumptions that everything's safe until they've gone, you know, and then we don't look so clever. But yeah, just check that if we haven't got it insured, then we just need to insure it, don't we? Yeah, we need to.
Although, I mean, as far as I'm aware, that it should be under the contractor's insurance.
It's not our stuff here, is it? It's his.
It's not our stuff yet.
Yeah,
Just
check on it, please.
I will check.
Yeah. Terry's fingers up, Tony.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry, Terry. There's two of them now.
Have we paid for it?
No.
Then it's theirs.
Yeah, we've not even had an invoice for it yet.
Yeah, I can't quite see David Chappell's mouth, but I think he's smiling. It's it's not that easy. Yeah, Ian.
It mentions 2 trees in the marketplace being identified as need of removal. Who is that? Our tree report that's identified that, or
our tree inspector looked at them and highlighted it, but they are highways trees. Highways are aware of it, and they haven't done anything about them. But I mean, they look really pretty at the moment.
So, is it health reasons or falling on things reasons, or
no? It's a disease. Well, some sort of disease. I can't remember exactly what he put in the report, but he did gave it like a 12-month. They needed to be removed within 12 months.
Right. So we got Jerry and then Val.
I'm just going to ask if they are going to be removed, but they're going to get replacements.
It would be down to highways. It'd be nice to have replacements, but yeah.
You ought to set a fund up for that. If it's not,
we would probably have to purchase them.
Let's have Val now, please.
Lisa once, not very long ago, showed me the diseased parts, and there's no doubt about it, they are diseased.
Yeah.
I personally would, lovely though they look, them replaced, is because they block all the signage at the moment. people can't see where to go for the car park and things. So we would have to be very careful about what went in their place.
Yeah. I can imagine certainly replacing them means getting the roots out somehow, and that's not going to be easily done.
No.
They normally allow them to rot for a few years, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
But they do block lots of the signage.
What
Yeah,
the
okay,
signage,
Clive.
the signage issue was going to be, we did talk about changing all that anyway within Town Square when with the Oundle Business Group, and changing when we were thinking about the Oundle in Bloom, the sign, we were talking about signage and opening that area up anyway. So that maybe this is a thing that if you make a point of it, Emma, and that we can discuss with the Oundle business people, and when we're back on in real time, we can talk to them about Oundle in Bloom and the new trees and new flower baskets and whatever it takes.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Right, so moving on then, we've got the correspondence. The NCALC mini report is anything but a mini report now, isn't it? It's
enormous.
I appreciate, the amount of work they're putting into it. So when you're looking for something, you know where to look for, but it's quite a read. Yeah. Is it just on that point? Is there anything anybody wants to raise that's been brought up in that document?
No.
No. Okay then. And then the email from NCALC, be on your guard. Yeah. Okay. So, yep. All right. So we're aware that a few of us been targeted by this sort of behaviour. So yeah, it is about being on your guard. Email from AH Planning regarding the assistance with responding to planning applications. David.
Seeing how much they charge, I've decided I'm in the wrong business. It's £750 per application to draw up an objection, which ENC will overrule anyway. It really doesn't seem to me to be worth doing.
No, certainly that was my view when I read it. But anybody else feel differently, more positively?
No.
No. Okay then. So it's a polite response, Emma?
Well, I think it's, I might even, I'll respond, but I don't always respond to those.
Yeah, but just say we considered
Thanks,
it.
but no thanks, yeah.
Yes, yeah, thank you. Right, and employment law updates from May 2020 newsletter. Yep. Sorry, Emma, was there anything in there that worried us at all?
No, not really. No, there wasn't anything that I thought was something that we need to be sort of jumping on.
Okay.
Moment.
So before we go into the session on camera, there's any other relevant matters for report only?
I think you missed the next to the last item, Tony, just for the record.
What was that one? The COVID-19 briefing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I missed it, but I did tick it off. Sorry.
Well, why don't you do that about 7:35? We'll be fine.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, just on the, we got the COVID-19 briefing. And again, is there anything from there that anybody wants to raise or observe?
No.
No. Thank you, Terry. Right. Any other matters for? Yeah. Sorry, Val. Go on.
We are. Is this the round the group now? Asking if there's anything else. Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Can
So we'll start with you. Yes.
Right. I had a phone call from a gentleman, and I've unfortunately covered his name up with a bit of paper and can't spot it. But I will come back to Emma with who it was. But he was concerned about not enough football, if you like, land like we've got on the Rec with a football goal. And they would like, apparently there's a number of lads, his being one of them, who would like a net on a football goal, because we don't have one on the Rec these days, do we?
Yeah, we've talked, Lisa and I have talked about that, getting one put on there. I think that was we were looking to put one on there actually, just leading up to when we went into this lockdown.
Oh, so we might.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Okay, I will go. I'll just tell him that, and then it's up to him. Thank you very much.
Okay then, David.
Well, just on that point, I seem to recall that we did have one at some time in the past, but that it suffered damage, I think, as the result of vandalism, and
They do,
we didn't
yeah.
replace it. But you know, maybe people will be better this time around if
Yeah.
we pick one up again.
Yep. Okay, Peter.
Actually, if they want to play football, why don't they join Arundel Football Club? There's
I
loads
said
of
that.
practice pitches down there.
Yeah.
I said that, but there was some, I don't know why they didn't want to.
Okay. Well, let's carry on round the table then. I'm starting with Val and then move to Peter. Is there anything else you want to raise, Peter?
Nope.
No? Okay, Malcolm?
No.
No, David Chappell?
No.
No, Terry?
No.
No, Jerry?
No.
And Clive?
There's the one thing that when last Thursday in the market, someone came up to me and I've reported it to Emma already about the state of the zebra crossing outside Arundel News. That in fact it's there's so many potholes in and around it, and they were concerned. They have a disabled daughter, and if she fell out of her wheelchair on that zebra crossing, then she has a life-threatening condition. If she fell out, it would be very, very serious for her.
Yeah.
And they were very concerned about the states, primarily of the zebra crossings in Arundel. And Emma's taken that on board. I did put him on to Street Doctor and all the rest of it.
Okay.
But it needs just to be recognised by this council that there has been a comment by the public.
Yeah, we are definitely not a wheelchair-friendly town.
Yeah.
No.
You know, I just, I feel for anybody who has to get around our town with a wheelchair.
Yeah, just so it's down on record, and we've recognised that in fact we have a problem.
Okay, Ian.
Nothing. I suppose the next advertiser page will be getting edited soon, but that's nothing else.
Okay, so does that mean the advertiser's going into print?
The first one's
last month
already.
Oh right, I hadn't noticed it.
You haven't got one.
No, I haven't.
I haven't got a letterbox, so.
That'll be why. It came out last weekend, the weekend before.
Yeah.
Okay.
It hasn't come to me.
Or me.
I'll report failures in distribution.
Yes. Okay. And
I've
Lee.
got a copy, and thank you for the plug for the Arundel Chronicle. There was a little sentence in there, so thank you very much for that.
No worries.
All right, Lee. Is there anything else you want to add to this? You know you're going to be on the council very soon, don't you?
Not very soon at all.
Yeah, we have another technique. It's not called co-opting. It's called lassoing.
Can we see the embroidery?
Yeah, we can see the embroidery today, please.
Yeah. Okay. Well, last time I did finish one. I finished this.
Oh wow!
Nice.
Just in one council meeting.
Yeah.
That was just the QPH one.
Now I'm doing something more 60s, 70s style.
Oh, very
Wow.
nice.
Yep.
It's called Zoom, actually.
Oh, very good.
Pattern. Very much.
Very
for the-
appropriate.
Yeah.
Okay then. Right.
Not
So
psychedelic enough.
yeah. Sorry, Emma. Just whilst we're in the public one, is there anything else from yourself?
No, nothing from me.
Okay then. Right. So.
So goodbye.
Bye.
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 Bye. Right. That's not to all of you. You stay there. It's only one gone. Yeah. So somewhere in that process, we lost David Fuller, didn't we?
Yes, I noticed that. Yeah.
He fell off his chair and then.
Went off with tea.
Yeah. Okay.
Have we got a proposer and a seconder for you closing the meeting?
Well, am I closing it just yet, or?
Well-
For the going into camera, right?
Are you ready to close it now?
Well, I thought we were going to go. Okay then. So the proposition is that we keep the hub closed at this time, due to the virus situation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I will propose it. Okay, Peter proposed it. I seconded it. All those in favour? Right. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Okay then. Well, with that one, thank you all for your time. Yeah, and Val, it was very nice having you back there, and you're looking really good. Yeah, you've definitely got the lighting right. You've got the angle of your camera right. You're doing very well there.
And
you
you
can
sound a
see
lot better than I'm there
Good
most of
power
the
lead
time.
work.
Peter improved during the session. Yes, he's
It's after dark.
Tony, at least my laptop didn't deteriorate.
that's true.
Yeah. Okay,
All right
okay
then.
for me to close then now.
Yeah, thank you.
Right.
Cheerio
Thanks a
now.
lot then, everybody. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.